A girl in foster care discovers that her husband is in love with her younger sister. Her mother sets her up for jail and takes her life, but God gives her a second chance and brings her back in time. Now, she has a year to get revenge on her family and marry the rich guy her sister dreams of. Han Yi Joo is a young and attractive girl who got married under contract, hoping to be loved and gain the approval of her not poor parents. As she prepares to meet her family, the girl creates a portrait. She paints beautifully and dreams that one day they will take a photo together, but is very afraid to give the picture. A radio announcer supports the girl in a difficult moment, as a result of which she decides to change her husband's appearance in the picture and draws a smile. Soon, Yi Joo's husband's sister informs her that her mother-in-law is calling her. The woman asks the girl who lives in their house to clean up and cook dinner before she arrives with her friends. Yi Joo vacuums and prepares the meal, hurting her finger. The mother-in-law is still unhappy with the result, as her daughter-in-law is not a good cook. Apologizing for the ruined dinner, Yi Joo leaves her credit card and leaves for her parents' house. On the way, they call her husband, but he ignores her calls, admiring his wife's younger sister at an art gallery. Upon returning home, Yi Joo calls her mother's assistant and learns that the whole family is at the gallery and preparing for a charity event. The overbearing mother scolds her subordinates and asks them to swap the paintings as every detail is important. The assistant asks Yi Joo to take an envelope of documents from home, whereupon she hurries to the gallery, calling her husband at work. The girl learns that Seo Do Guk has decided to quit without informing her. Noticing a car in the parking lot, Yi Joo realizes that her husband is at the gallery and meets him and her father giving interviews to journalists. A little later, Seo Do Guk informs his wife that he has an important conversation to have with her, which she poses to postpone until later. Noticing her own painting in the gallery, Yi Joo takes a photo of it and sends a message to her grandfather to congratulate him on the upcoming holiday. His younger sister Yoo Ra and his mother strongly criticize Yi Joo for the portrait, considering it to be completely tasteless. One of the visitors appreciates the girl's talent and asks her to paint some copies of paintings by famous artists. Yi Joo is happy to help her mother and agrees to do whatever she is asked to do. While caring for her painting, kind and naive Yi Joo meets Do Guk, her younger sister's fiancé. The guy thinks the painting is beautiful but notices that it is done in the style of hyperrealism, which means that the image is fake and does not correspond to reality. Soon they are joined by Yoo Ra and Seo Do Guk. During the dialogue, the younger sister openly flirts with Yi Joo's husband, which embarrasses the girl. Do Guk thinks she is too naive and asks her to think about why everyone treats her so badly. After washing up, Yi Joo returns to her husband and sees him with her sister, realizing that their relationship cannot be called friendly. A little later, the girl is asked to be present when the paintings are checked for authenticity. An hour later, a charity auction is held and a painting by a famous artist is bought for 4 billion won. The buyer who ordered the Yi Joo paintings accuses the gallery of selling fakes. Soon, police officers show up and want to arrest the girl's mother. The woman asks her daughter to take the blame, and Yi Joo realizes that this is not a coincidence, as everything was planned in advance. Disappointed in her own mother, the girl tries to escape and finds support in the arms of her husband. After overhearing a conversation between Seo Do Guk and Yoo Ra, Yi Joo learns that her husband took her as his wife out of pity, and only to be closer to her younger sister. Losing her mother, sister, and husband in an instant, a disillusioned Yi Joo flees, but gets into a car accident, after which her car is hit by a truck. In the evening, the girl ends up in the hospital and the doctors fight for her life, but Yi Joo is in dire straits and is unlikely to live to see the morning. Despite what has happened, Seo Do Guk is not worried about his wife, but pursues Yoo Ra, who shows no interest in him. The mother decides to finish off her daughter and put her out of her misery in order to make Yi Joo guilty of all the case committed by the gallery. The woman confesses that she never hated her adopted daughter and took her home from the first days only out of pity, and then purposely abused her because of her excessive kindness and naivety. The mother turns off her daughter's life-sustaining devices and walks away, leaving her to fend for herself. Soon the assistant turns on the medical devices, but it is too late. Yi Joo falls into an eternal sleep, and there is nothing the doctors can do to help her. Moments before, Yi Joo asks God for a second chance to make things right and learn to reciprocate people so that everyone gets what they deserve. A while later, Yi Joo wakes up and realizes that she has traveled back in time and has 1 year to make things right. Knowing the date she will leave this world and seeing that all events are repeating themselves, Yi Joo decides to act. While trying on her dress, she cancels the wedding and exposes Seo Do Guk, who is in love with her younger sister, promising to tell the whole family about her decision. The girl's sister and mother learn of her desire to call off the wedding. Seo Do Guk kneels before her and agrees to any humiliation manipulation to make Yi Joo change her mind and become his spouse. Despite her feelings of pity, she finally rejects the groom, realizing that he loves her sister. After overhearing a conversation between Yoo Ra and her mother, Yi Joo learns that her younger sister has already been on a date with Do Guk and dreams of becoming his wife. The girl decides to take revenge on her sister and be the first to marry the handsome and rich man. The next morning, she meets her best friend, who is a reporter and is Do Guk's cousin. After hearing about Yi Joo's desire, friend warns that there are 3 flaws in the guy: immense wealth that makes him hard to win, a difficult family, and his terrible temper. Friend also reveals that the girl's mother purposely set up Yoo Ra and Do Guk states to get to know them better. All these obstacles do not frighten Yi Joo because she has set a goal to take revenge on her adoptive family and will do everything for this. When she learns that Do Guk is to meet her sister, Yi Joo goes on a date with him and proposes a marriage contract. Using knowledge from the future, she proves that she can be useful, not only in marriage, but also in business. Do Guk is bribed by the girl's impudence and self-confidence, but he decides to test her readiness for serious steps and puts the key to the hotel room. Yoo Ra is shocked that her sister has come to see Do Guk and tries to seduce him. Yi Joo agrees to the guy's terms and the couple goes to his room. Se Hyeok reports everything to his family, and his mother makes him apologize to Yi Joo, as she is the daughter of rich parents and could improve their financial situation. Yoo Ra calls Se Hyeok and asks for help, reporting that Yi Joo and Do Guk have secluded themselves in the hotel room. At the same time, pair get to know each other better and chat, realizing that they have a lot in common. After drinking too much, Yi Joo falls asleep in her boyfriend's arms and wakes up in the night in the same bed with him. Frightened, she runs away from the hotel, continuing to ignore Se Hyeok. Her parents severely criticize Yi Joo for her behavior and decide to punish her by taking away her cell phone and locking her in her bedroom. The girl realizes that this has been done to her too often, and the bedroom has become a real prison for her. She hopes that her friend took compromising photos and will publish them, informing the whole world that she is dating Do Guk. But the influential family of the guy blocks the spread of rumors. In the evening, Do Guk announces his desire to marry Yi Joo and shocks his parents, as the mother wants her son to marry her younger sister. Yi Joo asks the children to give her a cell phone and begs Do Guk to save her. The mother humiliates the girl, considering her unworthy, but a rich man appears on their doorstep who is ready to marry Yi Joo, despite the fact that she is an adopted daughter and grew up in an orphanage. Talking to Yi Joo and Yoo Ra's parents, Do Guk asks for their eldest daughter's hand in marriage, and the father agrees. Yi Joo takes her cell phone away from her mother, and the boyfriend promises to take care of her no matter what happens. Yi Joo is ready to pay information for help, but the rich man is not interested in work because he wants to be alone with a beautiful girl. The couple goes to a restaurant, but Yi Joo is used to simple food from the supermarket. The couple dines on bagged food, after which Yi Joo confesses that she only decided to become his wife to get back at her sister and mother. Do Guk appreciates the sincerity and gives the girl a flower symbolizing an engagement ring. She agrees to become his wife, after which the couple brush passionately. The next morning, a journalist friend calls Yi Joo and informs him that the whole internet knows about the secret date between the girl and the rich man. Yi Joo realizes that Do Guk planned it himself and wanted publicity, even though his mother is strongly against the marriage. Yoo Ra takes it hard that her older sister is marrying the guy she has a crush on. Yi Joo is indifferent to her younger sister and angry mother, so she is willing to go to any lengths to get what she wants. Her mother suggests getting the approval of Do Guk's family and her grandfather, who is in a mental hospital, believing it to be an impossible task. Mother promises Yoo Ra to do anything to ruin Yi Joo's marriage so that Do Guk becomes her husband. Meanwhile, a rich man invites Yi Joo to his home and prepares a romantic dinner for her. The guy offers to make a premarital agreement, according to which the girl will help him in business. Yi Joo is ready for all conditions, but warns that the contract will be valid only for a year, as she knows the date when she will lose her life for the second time. Another condition of the girl is the consent of their parents to the marriage, which scares Do Guk a little, but he agrees to everything because he sincerely likes Yi Joo. After dinner, Do Guk offers the girl to live together in his house. He bought food, clothes, and prepared a separate bedroom for her, as well as a duplicate key for her to accept his offer. The next morning, Do Guk's assistant and sister's husband realizes that he met Yi Joo earlier and learns that she is Se Hyeok's former fiancée. Soon, not only the entire company staff finds out, but also Do Guk's sister. After meeting Yoo Ra, the rich man's sister tries to see if the sisters are alike and realizes that Yi Joo is a good girl who deserves to be by her brother's side. The next morning, Se Hyek's mother plays out a skit and pretends that Yi Joo is beating and humiliating her. Yi Joo's mother's assistant films the scene on her phone to accuse the girl of violence and horrible behavior towards a defenseless woman. Yi Joo and Se Hyek's mothers are convinced that they can ruin the girl's life, causing her to return to her previous fiancé. Previously, public's opinion cared about Yi Joo, but now she has only a year to live and is becoming truly selfish so that she won't live the same miserable and worthless life once again, fighting for herself and her future. Yi Joo asks for her paintings to be returned so she can sell them. Later, she is sent to a madhouse, but her grandfather doesn't recognize anyone and hides under a blanket. A little later, Yi Joo meets up with a friend and asks for advice on how to win Do Guk's sister's favor. The friend and relative of Do Guk's family informs him that the best thing to do is to try to get his mother to like him, since she is the one who decides everything in their family. It will not be an easy task because the woman does not like flattery and appreciates straightforwardness. Having had the opportunity to go to a course for rich ladies, Yi Joo meets Do Guk's mother and makes a good impression on her friends. The rich man's older brother spurns him because of his upcoming wedding, as he has always been jealous of him. The older brother has a leg injury and has never been popular with girls, so gets angry at Do Guk for deciding to get married. After a cooking class, Do Guk's mother organizes a meeting where Yoo Ra and Yi Joo attend. The younger sister tries to please the woman in every way, but Yi Joo behaves brazenly and openly. Do Guk shows up at their meeting to take the girl home. Yi Joo is not afraid to boldly and openly answer the mother of the guy and amazes her with her insolence and persistence. Upon returning home, Do Guk explains to the girl that no one will believe in their marriage of convenience, as she is an adopted daughter and is considered a pauper. Hence, they need to pretend to be a couple in love and get to know each other better. Yi Joo is shy to talk frankly, so the rich man offers her some drinks to relax. Do Guk confesses his love to the girl and pleasantly shocks her as their feelings are real and mutual. In the evening, she can't sleep and sits down next to the guy so that nightmares don't bother him. Noticing the couple together, Do Guk's mother agrees to meet Yi Joo's family. Soon it is revealed that she has found an approach to the grandfather and has gotten his blessing for the marriage. A couple of days later, Do Guk and Yi Joo's families meet, but it becomes clear that there are tensions between them and no one would like to publicize the meeting. During the meeting, Yi Joo's adoptive mother insults the girl in every possible way and tries to humiliate her in front of Do Guk's relatives. The rich man's mother and sister are so indignant that they take the girl's side and begin to defend her. Feeling supported, Yi Joo gains confidence and gives the boy's grandmother a painting she bought from a regular customer of her mother's gallery. Upon seeing the painting, the woman panics as her daughter opaquely hints that she knows about her bad schemes to sell fakes. In a private dialogue, Yi Joo makes her mother not to interfere with her future marriage, otherwise she will end up in jail. The mother is still against her eldest daughter's marriage as she wishes for Yoo Ra's happiness. The father primarily thinks about money and wants to become related to a rich family to improve his financial situation. Kim performs poorly and gets slapped in the face, after which she gets angry with the owner of the art gallery. After learning that his mother didn't mess up the acquaintance, Yoo Ra decides to get drunk, but meets Se Hyek and comes up with a revenge plan to thwart Yi Joo's plans. In the evening, Do Guk's family discusses the girl and gradually begins to treat her better. His older brother Chunuk is skeptical and wants to ruin the wedding, as Chunuk is still angry with Do Guk because of what happened in the past. When meeting her friend, Yi Joo admits that the rich man's mother is only favorable to her because she promised to help Do Guk get back into the family business. The guy has started his own interior design company, but his mother and grandmother want him to take over the construction company run by his older brother. Se Hyek and Do Guk quarrel while working on a new project, and the reason is a girl. The head of the company sincerely loves Yi Joo and is ready to take the life of the guy who tries to say something bad about her. Yi Joo's mother starts returning the fake paintings so that she won't be exposed and imprisoned. Meanwhile, Se Hyek helps the girl move into Do Guk's house and hugs Yoo Ra to take compromising photos. Before leaving, the ex-boyfriend reports that Do Guk almost took the life of his older brother, leaving him disabled. The girlfriend indirectly confirms this fact. The story is covered with secrets. Chunuk refuses a joint project with Do Guk's company. The younger brother is not ready to put up with it and meets with the apartment owners in the new building to earn their trust and get back to work again. Do Guk's grandmother meets with Yi Joo's father and then her grandfather. The old man repays his debts and falls on his knees before her, after which the grandmother grandmother decides to test the girl to see if she is worthy of becoming her grandson's wife. Yi Joo visits her grandfather and does not understand what he accuses himself of, after which she makes an agreement with Kim that he will take her side and become a double agent behind her mother's back. At a cooking class, the girl makes a pie, but does so extremely unsuccessfully. Do Guk's mother shows sympathy for her, but is shy about it in front of other women. In the evening, Do Guk decides to try his future wife's pie, breaks a tooth on it, after which he cooks noodles. He sincerely loves Yi Joo and contemplates a real wedding, but she rejects such a possibility, realizing that in a year she will lose her life, and the date on her wrist is an unnecessary reminder of this. A little later, Yoo Ra clings to Do Guk in a bar, but he rudely rejects and humiliates her. The girl decides to commit suicide, but her mother saves her and takes her to the hospital. Yoo Ra insults the mother, who is unable to prevent Yi Joo, and decides to go to any lengths to break his older sister's life. Chunuk makes an appointment for his younger brother's girlfriend and provokes Do Guk to come to the waterfront. Scared of the water and remembering creepy events from his childhood, the boy passes out in Yi Joo's arms. The girl takes Do Guk to the hospital, but he gets better and offers to return home. In the morning, he is visited by a psychologist who informs him that the rich man has panic attacks due to tragic events of the past and needs her regular help. Chunuk makes another appointment with Yi Joo, and the grandmother tests the girl's strength and realizes that she is not marrying her grandson for financial gain. In the evening, family gathers and decides to have the wedding as soon as possible. Yi Joo's mother discovers that the grandfather has been skimming money and trying to give it to the rich man's grandmother. Yi Joo and Do Guk invite the girl's family to the wedding, but Yoo Ra refuses in a rude manner. Father asks the girl to prepare for a blind date, as she too must marry a decent guy. A little later, girl's father informs them that he can give the gallery to Yi Joo, since she is an artist and can handle the responsibility. The couple prepares for the wedding, and the girl chooses a dress. Seo Do Guk shows up at the salon and insults Yi Joo, believing that she is not happy with Do Guk. Meanwhile, the girl's mother meets with Chunuk and agrees to prevent the wedding at all costs. Yoo Ra defiantly refuses the blind date, but attracts Chunuk's attention, realizing that he is even richer and more successful than his younger brother. A little later, Chunuk meets Yi Joo, but Do Guk interferes with their companionship and pushes his brother away. Yoo Ra and his mother decide to join force and ask to get the girl to marry Chunuk. Do Guk's grandmother accepts Yi Joo helps her discover her grandfather's secrets. As it turns out, he felt guilty about taking the life of a pregnant woman and helped Yi Joo find a family. Old man is visited by the girl's stepmother, so she has to hide in the closet. Overhearing the conversation, she realizes that her father is not adopted, but her own. The shocked girl returns home barefoot, and the police arrest her, after which she is handed over to Do Guk. After returning home, the guy takes care of his future wife, and a few days later comes the long-awaited wedding ceremony. Yi Joo gets angry at her mother and wants to hit her on the head with a vase, but Do Guk stops her in time. Yi Joo is very nervous, but her fiancé calms her down and supports her, promising to take revenge on the family that has wronged her all these years. The couple soon marries, promising to cherish each other for the rest of their lives. Yoo Ra tries to ruin the celebration by showing up in her wedding dress, but Yi Joo and Do Guk ignore her. When they return home, the couple realizes that they love each other and their feelings are sincere. They try to hide it because their marriage is fictitious and conclude it only because of the cooperation agreement. In the morning, the girl runs away to be alone on the beach, but Do Guk follows her to always be near her. Boy tells about the events of the past when he and his brother had a fight, as a result of which Chunuk fell overboard and injured his leg, leaving him crippled forever. In the evening, he confesses that he truly loves Yi Joo and wants to be with her because of his feelings, not their contract. Meanwhile, Yoo Ra is having fun at a nightclub and asks Seo Do Guk to come get her. The girl is attacked by a bully, but the guy defends her, after which the couple escapes and brushes without hiding their feelings for each other. At night, Do Guk and Yi Joo flirt with each other, deciding who will go to the shower first. The girl would like to spend the night in bed with her husband, but is very shy and pretends to be asleep, sending him to sleep on the floor. At the same time, Seo Do Guk and Yoo Ra spend the night together, but the girl is in no hurry to start a relationship as she plans to marry Chunuk. At the same time, the head of the construction company creates new problems that hinder the business of both his grandmother and his brother. In the morning, Do Guk and Yi Joo take a walk on the beach, which helps the guy to stop being afraid of water. In the evening, the spouses lie together in the same bed for the first time, after which Yi Joo tells a secret about her father and family. The girl does not trust anyone and will not be able to reciprocate Do Guk's love, but he is ready to tolerate as long as necessary. unnecessary. Giving in to emotions, the couple brushes and enjoys the best time. Meeting with her grandfather, Yi Joo learns the whole story of her birth and realizes that her father himself does not know that she is not adopted, but his own daughter. In the evening, the couple come to dinner at Yi Joo's parents' house, as a result of which the girl becomes the owner of the gallery. Stepmother has been selling her paintings in the USA all this time, but now Yi Joo has revealed herself and has become a famous artist worthy of running the gallery. As a result, Yoo Ra decides to become Chunuk's wife in order to destroy her sister and her husband. Do Guk's mother discovers how Yi Joo's mother used her and begins to treat the girl as her daughter. Soon, Chunuk shows up at a family dinner, announcing that he wants to marry Yoo Ra, which shocks everyone present. The brothers fight over the choice of girls, as a result of which the grandmother kicks them both out of the house. Yoo Ra is willing to do anything to destroy her sister, but is confronted by Chunuk's rude attitude towards her. The next morning, Yi Joo shows up at the gallery and invites journalists to a meeting to increase the sales of paintings. The girl is willing to continue her stepmother to run the gallery, but in return, she takes one of the best paintings, which she gives to Kim, who works as a double agent. While caring for her father, Yi Joo takes a few hairs from him to conduct additional DNA testing to make sure he is her birth father. The girl's father demands that Yoo Ra stop dating Chunuk immediately, as it could ruin their family's image. The next morning, it becomes known that the grandfather escaped from the hospital. Carefully looking into it, the stepmother realizes that the old man hid on purpose to rewrite the inheritance to his beloved granddaughter, and Yi Joo knows the secret of her birth. The next morning, Kim thanks the girl for the painting and informs her sister and stepmother of her plans. Do Guk decides to return to her grandmother's construction company and hands over the management of the interior design studio to her best assistant. Se Hyeok sneaks into the couple's home and finds their prenuptial agreement. In the evening, Yi Joo loses her fear of tasting food for the first time since her stepmother poisoned her as a child. Do Guk is willing to do anything for his wife and declares that he will return to the construction company and take his older brother's place. Se Hyeok tries to talk to the girl, but Do Guk rudely prevents this, forbidding the guy to get close to his wife. In the evening, the whole family learns about the marriage contract, as a result of which the grandmother becomes ill, and the guy's parents become disappointed in his wife. Yoo Ra and sister Se Hyeok publish a material in which they try to humiliate Yi Joo and show how she hit the guy's mother. Plenty of gossip springs up around the girl, and Kim calls Do Guk to let him know who's behind it all. At a cooking class, one of the women insults Do Guk's mother, and a fight breaks out between them. The daughter-in-law stands up for her mother-in-law and gets punched in the face, but doesn't give up, resulting in the boorish woman apologizing and leaving the kitchen once and for all. Do Guk's mother is not sure that the girl can be trusted, but her son tells her the truth about Yi Joo's life, causing the woman to favor his wife again. After meeting with Yi Joo's stepmother, Do Guk's mother declares that she has no intention of getting involved in the marriage, as she has made a bet on the girl and has only come to forbid Yoo Ra from marrying Chunuk. The mothers quarrel, whereupon Yi Joo's stepmother calls Chunuk and gives the details of the conflict. Chunuk and Do Guk go to their grandmother's house to reconcile. The older brother exposes their mother supporting Yi Joo only to have the younger son return to the construction company. The mother doesn't deny it, but offers to watch a video from 20 years ago that shows that Chunuk was the one who wanted to drown his younger brother until he fell into the water himself. Grandma is tired of the proceedings and smashes her cell phone, after which she feels ill again. A little later, she appoints Do Guk as company director and gives the brothers a year, after which she will choose a new owner of her business. Meanwhile, Do Guk continues to take care of his wife, preparing romantic dinners for her. Soon, Do Guk exposes Se Hyeok and sister, threatening them with jail time for trespassing and slander. Se Hyeok admits guilt, but does not talk about Yoo Ra's guilt as he is in love with her. After learning from Do Guk that Yoo Ra is dating his brother, Se Hyeok follows the girl and becomes convinced that she has been using him all along. Yi Joo becomes friends with a woman running a cooking class and asks her to help teach her how to cook one dish. The next morning, the girl cooks for Do Guk's grandmother and makes a favorable impression on her. The old lady loves her grandson's wife, realizing that he cannot live without her and their feelings are sincere. Soon Kim finds a housekeeper who worked in the girl's house when she was a child. The maid knows that Yi Joo tried to poison her stepmother, but has no proof of it. Reveals that the girl's real mother lost her life in a fire, but does not know who is responsible. Yoo Yoo Ra decides to be proactive and tries to get Chunuk into marrying her. Se Hyok's sister ends up in police custody for slandering Yi Joo and is threatened with a real prison sentence. Se Hyok asks Yoo Ra for help, but the girl confesses that she has been using him for her own gain all along. Having no choice, Se Hyok begs Yi Joo to forgive them and kneels before her. During a meeting of the directors of a construction company, Chunuk attacks his younger brother, but Do Guk defends himself because the internet published an expose of Yoo Ra, who used slander to discredit his sister. Do Guk's mother is going to sue Yoo Ra and her mother for moral damage to their family name and business. Yoo Ra pretends to sincerely apologize, but no one believes her. At the same time, it becomes known that Yi Joo's father's company is on the verge of collapse, causing the man to have a heart attack. The stepmother does everything she can to turn her husband against her own daughter, accusing her of trying to raid the company. Then she proves that the grandfather tried to sell the shares to his granddaughter, but blocked the decision thanks to bribes. Naively trusting, the husband hands over the management of the financial company to his wife. At the same time, Yi Joo realizes that her stepmother may be behind the arson and the incident with her own mother. Calling her former housekeeper, she asks her about the name of the culprit and realizes that her suspicions are correct. Yi Joo realizes that there is no point in hiding the truth anymore and decides to meet her father, informing him that she is not an adopted daughter, but her own daughter. The man doesn't believe that his wife is behind all the horror going on, but Yi Joo leaves him a few hairs for another DNA test. Kim continues to work on two fronts, helping Do Guk and Yi Joo with exposing the girl's stepmother. Meanwhile, the woman transports her sick husband home to slowly ruin his well-being and then finally get rid of him. While the woman takes her husband's position in a financial company, Yoo Ra begins to manage an art gallery and avoids communication with Se Hyok, humiliating the guy in love with her as much as possible. In the evening, the couple receives guests and friends to celebrate the beginning of a new stage in their lives. Do Guk does not like loud parties, but for his wife's sake he agrees to everything. At the same time, friends devise a plan to contact the shareholders and prevent the stepmother from taking away Yi Joo's father's company. The next morning, Do Guk meets the arsonist and realizes that he was in a relationship with his wife's stepmother. After learning that the woman from the cooking class owns shares in the company, Yi Joo goes to see her. Realizing that burns on her hand are not accidental, the girl asks to be told the truth and realizes that her birth mother is in front of her. The woman did not know that her daughter survived and went to another country, but her father told the truth shortly before he left this world. The stepmother discovers that not only Yi Joo, but also her mother survived that terrible fire. Acting aggressively, she kidnaps her grandfather and makes him to transfer the shares into her name, but the old man refuses and threatens her in return. The next morning, the stepmother asks the old partner to finish what he started by taking Yi Joo's life. At the shareholders meeting of the finance company, the stepmother tries to take over the business and fire her husband, but Yi Joo, her mother and grandfather blocked the decision. As it turns out, it was Secretary Kim who freed the captive grandfather, so he has to expose himself to Yi Joo's evil stepmother. The old man convinces the chairman and shareholders of his adequacy, after which he removes Yi Joo's stepmother from her position. Meanwhile, the girl's father becomes convinced that she is his own daughter. His wife tries to get his support, but knowing the truth, the man kicks her out of the house and throws her into the street. The stepmother meets with the culprit to finish what he started and take Yi Joo's life. Do Guk has been following her and promises the lawbreaker twice as much money if he helps expose the stepmother and imprison her. Yoo Ra and Chunuk are left unsupported but continue to cooperate to take over the companies and destroy Do Guk and Yi Joo. Meanwhile, the couple decides to have another wedding, but for real. Do Guk wants a child, but Yi Joo is afraid of it, as she knows the date when she will leave this world, and that day is getting closer. A few days later, Yoo Ra finds out that she is pregnant with Se Hyok's child. Her mother suggests that she say it's Chunuk's son in order to break into his family and gain their support. A little later, she meets with the lawbreaker again, unaware that Do Guk has been eavesdropping on their conversations. Yi Joo instructs Kim to find the fake paintings, which will expose her stepmother and allow her to be imprisoned. Chunuk learns that Yoo Ra is pregnant and breaks the news to her father. A little later, the lawbreaker meets Yoo Ra and realizes that she is his daughter. Yi Joo proves that most of the paintings in the gallery are fakes, and Yoo Ra realizes that her own mother is using her for selfish purposes and does not value her as a daughter. The police try to arrest Yi Joo's stepmother, but the woman escapes with her accomplice. The stepmother decides to sell the fake paintings, but Yi Joo turns up at the place where they are stored before she does. At the same time, Yoo Ra becomes convinced that her father is a lawbreaker. The stepmother orders the culprit to run over and take Yi Joo's life. Do Guk protects his wife in time by sacrificing his car. The police arrive on the scene and arrest the stepmother and the lawbreaker. At the police station, the lawbreaker provides evidence to expose the commissioner of the scenes. Kim finds the artist, and it turns out that the stepmother faked his disappearance, as a result of which she sold the paintings and earned millions of dollars from the forgeries. It turns out that Kim has been by the woman's side all this time only because he is the son of the artist, who has been searching for his father and doing everything he can to expose the lawbreaker. Upon returning home, Yi Joo notices the same timer on Do Guk's arm. It turns out that he was in the second car at the time of the accident and also lost his life, after which he traveled back in time, believing that her husband only took her as his wife out of pity. Yi Joo asks to be left alone. Meanwhile, Chunuk is facing problems as a construction worker lost his life at a construction site. He tries to cover it up and make it look like an accident. Yi Joo seeks her mother's support and realizes that Do Guk genuinely loves her. Chunuk informs the family that Yoo Ra is pregnant and they will soon get married. Determined to be honest, Do Guk exposes Chunuk not only as the culprit of the builder's accident, but also as a bribe taker. Grandmother publicly apologizes for her eldest grandson and appoints Do Guk as head of the company, whereupon Chunuk is arrested. A little later, he calls Yi Joo and asks her to come into the secret room, where the girl finds her favorite painting. Do Guk confesses that he loved Yi Joo long before the incident and bought her painting after falling in love with the author. The couple realizes that their feelings are sincere and enjoy the time, after which they turn to the sorceress. God gave them a second chance, as only one of them was to lose his life that day. Not knowing what will happen to them, the couple decides to enjoy every day. 7 months later, that day comes and it turns out that Yi Joo is pregnant. A little later, it is revealed that Chunuk was in prison trying to get even with his life and escaped from prison. Thinking that his wife is in danger, Do Guk rushes home, but Yi Joo has disappeared. CCTV footage reveals that it was Chunuk who kidnapped Yi Joo, and yet he is completely limp. After learning the location of his beloved wife, Do Guk pursues his brother and realizes that he is on his way to the accident scene on the very day and time. Yi Joo fights back hard against Chunuk and makes him to stop the car. Do Guk catches up to his brother and attacks him, but Chunuk stabs him in the stomach. Sacrificing himself, Do Guk saves Yi Joo and beats up his brother, after which the timers on their hands disappear. Do Guk ends up in the hospital in serious condition and undergoes several surgeries, but the guy remains in a coma. Chunuk's father tells the truth that his own mother abandoned the guy when he was a child. Yoo Ra shows up at Chunuk's family home, stating that he is expecting a baby and will be staying with them. The grandmother wants to conduct a DNA test, and the girl realizes that she will be exposed because it is another person's child. While in a coma, Do Guk remembers how he lost his life and prayed to God to give Yi Joo a chance for a second life. 2 months later, Do Guk comes out of his coma and returns to his normal lifestyle. Hyeok finds a new bride, but Yoo Ra decides to ruin the guy's life. She declares that she is pregnant by him and will live in miserable conditions next to him as she has nowhere else to go. A little later, Yoo Ra refuses her mother as the woman is in prison and has no money to help her daughter. Yi Joo and Do Guk register their marriage again, but this time they do it for real. Soon Do Guk gives the engagement ring to the girl and they spend another wedding night together. A while later, they become happy parents and realize that their marriage is perfect and nothing will interfere with their happiness.